Hello, 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 everyone. Look what I forgot. Look what I forgot. The magic. I forgot the magic. Oh boy, it's been one of those mornings. It's been one of those mornings. How's everyone doing? Good morning, PMG. Good morning, Patrick. The meeting wants 14 straight days in the Dow. They can keep going till they don't. I am prepared for a trapdoor, though. Can we get a market rally today? Well, so we hit a very key level already in the Dow. Things are just getting a little too rosy. Are we going to be selling the news, selling the good news at this point? I don't know. I mean, it's very overbought. It's from to me, this is not a place to initiate a new position. It's to continue to trail, unless we get some momentum breakout on the open. Yeah, they are now charging for the daily report. So I'm going to be looking for another. I like to put out as much free services stuff on this stream as possible. Let me see if I can find an alternative. If anybody else knows of one, let me know. That's why I try to put out a lot of this stuff here so people don't have to pay for a lot of things. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Christoph. I agree, Jake. The pressers are more and more redundant. We're looking at the data. If it's warranted, we will hike. If not, we will pause. There we go. I summed it up. And if I could earn what he earns to do that, wonderful. I could do the press conference in 2 minutes. Morning, Heinrich. And it is very redundant. I almost fell asleep yesterday. Good morning, Anissa. So, where do we sit? Where do we sit? That's a good rule, Jacob. Sorry, I was just reading. I had to read that twice. Uh, if a stock website has headshots, they're awesome traders. Exit immediately. Oh crap! Do I should take off a headshot? Maybe I should just disappear me, and you could just listen to me talk in the background. Good morning, Sterling. Nice 4-hour double top in HG futures. Okay. All right. All right. We'll take a look at HG. We'll take a look at that in a second. By the way, the ECB hiked 25 basis points. The press conference is going on now. What else we have? We had continuing jobless claims coming in better than expected. We had initial jobless claims coming in better than expected. We had, where's the, let me jump over here real quick. GDP, these are the advanced numbers again for Q2. Coming in still advanced numbers, not final numbers, but coming in much better than expected. Retail inventories coming in slightly up. What else do we have? Durable goods, big increase in durable goods, but that's that was, where's the other one? Durable good X defense 6.2. So big jump in durable goods this morning. Where else? GDP sales coming in strong. Core PCE coming in better than expected. And where's the core? Where's the other PCE? PCE prices. This one coming in better than expected. So the inflation numbers coming in a little better than expected. Initial jobless claims coming in better than expected. And durable goods coming in stronger. Tomorrow we have the more important PCE numbers. We have personal income and personal spending, and we have consumer sentiment. So pay attention to that coming in tomorrow. So far, all the mega caps are up. All the mega caps are up. The groups, everything was still positive. Look at comm services after Meta up on close to 10%. Where do we sit now for September? Still at 80% on the pause. And it's a pause through and then a cut in May next year. Fear and greed still in extreme greed. Schiller PE, let me just refresh this. For 31.83 in nosebleed territory. McDonald's gap up on stronger earnings. Again, but people are paying. This is the multiples. I have no problems with these companies, even though their earnings and revenues have been tamped down a bit. But paying like 32 price to earnings on McDonald's is insane to me. MasterCard was slightly up. Visa, which had a gap down after their results the other day, reversing the whole thing yesterday. So that's where we sit right there. After the close, we got Enphase, we got Intel. That's the biggie one I'm going to be looking at. T-Mobile. And then tomorrow we have oil starting to report. Chevron, Exxon. We also pay attention to P&E from being able to pass. So a lot of stuff is still getting passed on to the consumer. Consumer is not tapped out yet. What's important? Where do we sit? Mike, is NQ4 our double bottom, or was it already a triple? Let's just start there. The NQ, this on the 4 hour, what does qualify for a double? It's why it's already on the chart. So we can see some increased area with the NQ. Unimportant, though, is getting this close about 15,845. That's going to be important. And then look at the final targets right around that 87.5 level. So retesting roughly the 16,000 mark again. That's what we have at that. So that's what I'm watching for. Continued there. The key pullback area is 15,730 with the rising 4 hour rotations. And that was a good question, Christoph. Yes. No way you're a pretty boy compared to Bob. Oh, you guys crack me up. So, yes, completely valid double bottom. That's why it was there. Let me get to the key points. The Dow finished the 87.5 rule. The Dow has now reconnected with the 87.5. That does not mean it has to stop. But it's met the minimum criteria after closing back. Remember, closing back above the 62.5 last November, and it never invalidated the 87.5 rule. This pullback was never big enough. So that was reconnected. So now we have the NASDAQ, which reconnected at the 87.5. It's a little hard to see with the shorter term stuff, but that did this last week. And the Dow is reconnected with the 87.5. The S&P, the 87.5 is 46.45. 46.45. I'm just clearing up the chart right there. We could hit that today or tomorrow. And then that would reconnect. Again, let me stress, it does not have to stop here. But between the 87.5 and the prior 100, it's going to take a fair amount to break it out. That's why it's in trailing mode. But again, I would not be chasing here. If you're already long, I would be trailing. The potential double top from yesterday, which obviously never triggered, is now invalidated. I will still be watching this 45.50, 45.55 area. The minor pullback area is 45.97 to 4600 is now key support. And you see where the rising rotation zone is. So beyond the 46.45, 46.53 to about 46.57 is the next target. Beyond there, we're looking roughly about 47 to 47.23. So those are the higher targets. I'm seeing a lot of large secured overnight financing futures trades. Would this signal an expected big change in interest rates? Not necessarily in the short term. That's a little tough. I'm going to have to think about that a little more. Let's just get through. That's a good question, though. Again, the NASDAQ, watch this 15,845 on today's closing basis. Then above 15,918 takes us back into potential double top territory, but you get the close above the 62.5. I would be looking for a return to 16,000 personally. The bottom of the daily rotation, it'll be interesting to see if we do get another potential double now with the daily rotation zone being out of the way. What also is, look how long it's been since a weekly reconnection with a rotation zone. So what is still happening, and the VIX, we're trading 1293, still vol's getting sold and everything's getting bought. So sell vol, buy everything. That's why I'm not saying that a trapdoor is imminent, but I am prepared if anything catches this market off guard, because it's short vol, long everything else. That's when you get trapdoor setups. What's a trapdoor? It's when you don't really have it doesn't take time to build a topping pattern. Things get very overextended. You get a lot of people short volatility. Because what happens when stuff's overextended on the long side and you're also short volatility? It's like you've leveraged up both things. So if you get something that increases volatility, which generally happens if there's a sudden shock event that triggers a downside move, not only to the people that are short vol get trapped, they're also long everything else, which is now reversing. And that's where you get the sudden swift. You don't get the building topping patterns. You don't get the topping patterns that just take some time and set up a really nice and then finally trigger. You just get what's a trapdoor. And it's whoops. Does that mean it has to happen? No. I am prepared for it. That's why know where your trailing stops are, both on a closing basis and a trade through basis. And that all depends on your time frame you're trading. For example, at this point, even a pullback to 4,500 is just a pullback. All right? I would even reconnect with the weekly rotation zone. You start snapping through there, especially if we get major momentum to the downside, we could be prepared for a much bigger pullback. Is that on the table yet? No, because first we'd have to even break 4,600, which is now the key support. So besides intraday moves, would I be establishing like daily or weekly positions at these levels that I'm just going to say, hey, just forget about it. It's safe. No. Oh, can it be traded intraday or swing traded? All right, yeah. From my perspective, yes. But be aware. Look, when the media is rooting 14 days in a row for the Dow, can we set the Dow record number and closes? Cycles just pinned to the top, overbought conditions, which rarely happens to this high in the Dow. On this 5-period RSI, this is a rarity. And I'm not saying this has to happen, but look, this was in August of 22. We got up to these key levels. And then this is more like a trapdoor. This is what I'm talking about. Vroom. You see how that didn't give you much warning? There was just, okay, we're pulling back. All right, we pull back to a rotation zone and then momentum, little bounce, momentum. We're at that same level again. That does not mean it has to happen. I have to stress that out. Does that mean you just load up the puts? I'm loading up the puts. No. You'll get some kind of like a little warning, and then I like the secondary reactions like, okay, we're starting to get major momentum. We got the little bounce, and then boom. So don't try to call tops, but be prepared. For example, in the Dow or the Russell, we have a potential double top. Does it have to trigger? No. What are the next levels if we break above this 2007, 2029, and then majors 2050? Russell's in a very key area. Russell's approaching major overbought conditions where it's had some substantial quick drops. Does that have to happen? No. Be prepared. That's all I'm saying. There's getting a lot of complacency out there. As who put that in here? Who put that in here? Thank you for putting that in. Patrick, yeah. Media wants 14 straight increases in the Dow. They might get it. Trading forex is extremely hard. I should trade NASDAQ instead. Just buy every dip. And see, when it gets to this, I should just buy every dip and make money. That's when you got to be careful. Forex trading, focus on the bigger patterns. Good morning, Martinez. Focus on the bigger patterns. Hey, Heinrich, again. Do we know why? I don't know why it's up. Because everybody's buying everything. DAX, we had the little try to break down snapback, and now it's going to complete the 87.5 rule here. And no, that's not a double top. If the DAX breaks out, so, I mean, I thought that was I have to look at the press conference because it was going on now. But I think, based off I thought the Fed was, if I had to categorize it, was not overly hawkish. It was just, we're going to wait and see. But ECB only going 25 is a little dovish based off their inflation figures. And the DAX, if it does break out, you have 17,000 as the next target. There is no good setup from my perspective yet in the... I'm waiting to see if we really establish a little proper double, but it would be very sloppy. Other than that, unless we close below 111.10, which would then I'd be looking for to retest some of these recent lows. That's about it. 10-2s jumping up today. So we were trying to break below it yesterday. That held. And a little key area bouncing up, but no, we don't have a double. That's a triple. Dollar index, big reversal after the ECB only 25 hike. I am watching now for a continued test of the 50 and this next breakdown 101.65. See, it pulled back straight to that 50% harmonic, and we had the big rapid reversal off the numbers today and the ECB. Crude continues to march on, which will be interesting because, again, crude's trading at the highest levels since last April of this year, and still climbing. And remember how big a component energy is to stuff. And we're seeing pressure on gas, not natural gas, but just gas. Car gas is going up, and especially in the futures markets. Because this could reignite some inflation in the short term coming up in the next few months. So I'm paying attention to that. The next key area I'm watching is 81. The only thing that would put a damper on that for me is a close back below about 78.50. What else gold, massive reversal. This is a potential double top in gold. Remember, I'm watching for another drop to retest these lows after a longer term ABC correction, but you get a close below 1951.6. We could possibly see a pullback to 1920. Copper. This is a slot. No, it's not on the weekly. And it's not, it is not a double, right? Let me just verify this. I know it's not a double. We do not have a double here because it'd be reversing this move, and this is now a triple top. So nothing in copper. Silver does have a double. I should say a potential double, because not confirmed. Alrighty, where else do we sit? Speaking of, you getting the reverse up in the yen. I need it to break out of the channel and also get a close back above 141 for a resumption of trend move. That's what I'm watching for right now, for a resumption of trend move there. Euro, after spiking, reversal on the ECB announcement. So, watching for Tuesday's lows to get taken out, then a retest of the 50 and the prior breakout area. If we close below 109.99. Then we should also, besides retesting the 50, 108.88 would be the magnet price. Okay. Pound. Pound, again, was not able to close below 62.5. That's what I'm still watching, this 127.95 area. Reversal there also. Bitcoin still not doing anything. Just take a quick Tesla, because Tesla, the double that was triggered, is still in play. All right, so nothing's changed with that. That pullback was not big enough to invalidate it yet. So that's where we sit with there. Meta, real quick. Meta, which did complete the double top, and now we got the gap up. Remember, we're also above the 62.5. What's the next major target? 347.34. So double top completed. Earnings came out. Gap up. The next major target, although I would be in trailing mode for this also, but the next major target would be 347.34. NVIDIA. Is this going to invalidate this little mini double? Because it did not hit the first target yet. And this was the sloppy one. Close above 469.53 would invalidate it, or an intraday trade above 473.31 would invalidate it. Let's take a quick look at the spiders. The spiders, which the potential double would be off the table. Trading 459, that was the next cluster. Above that, 461.27, and then 463.50 are your targets. The major support coming in at 455.50. There you go. The minor support would be yesterday's high, should anything roll over, which is roughly 457. The Qs. The Qs. Here's your double. Targets 383.12, 384.56, 385.76. We close today. If we close today above this 382.85 area, I would also use 386.28 as a target. The key support still coming in, 372.75 to 373. Hey, John. Sure, we can look at CMG. Let me just look at Palantir. I mean, it's up, but it's pre-1680. Still roughly holding this key area, unless it breaks below 16. Next target 1712. Nothing's really changed from the last time I looked at it. What else? CMG. Chipotle, which is in, I mean, even though it was a miss on revenue, I mean, it's again, P to E. I'm not buying Chipotle at 56 times earnings. These companies are trading and saying, what you're seeing, it was a miss, but look, the gap down. Could it fill this? Let's take a look at the last little run harmonics. So, yeah, if it can't hold 1900, the target would be for the gap fill. If it filled the gap, I'd be watching for a return to the 200. Now, I'm going to be watching, though, if it finds support in here right around 1900, we could get the people rush in to buy it as long as the market doesn't roll over. Just remember from the other day, this is what look, Visa. I mean, they beat, but the number, you know what? It was a pretty decent gap down. And then look, boom, let's just buy it. That's still the mindset. If it gaps down, just buy it. And if it gaps up, just buy it. It's just buy it. Buy. That's why we are potentially aware, but trail. Let's just see if they can root the Dow up again. With that, by the way, the major, yes, we do have a major that never potentially has to trigger. I'll just call this Cocoa mode. Could we stay in Cocoa mode and even break to new highs? We could stay in Cocoa mode. We could. So that's why we still. But if you're looking to do something longer term, from my perspective, I'd at least wait for some kind of pullback. We'll call it Cocoa mode, though. You're welcome, John. Everybody have a fantastic trading day, and I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.